Hello, it's Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm featuring a card I made with the April Hero Arts card kit. I've used tape to tape my stencil to my card base, and now I'm using both navy and grape juice Hero Arts inks to ink my stencil, and am able to easily line this stencil up to make a slimline card. This kit features layering stencils. There's a set of 3 stencils that you can mix and match or use all together to create some really unique geometric patterns for your cards. I've repositioned and pressed down on the tape so that that will hold my stencil. And now I can color or ink the bottom half of my slimline card panel. Here I realized that I cut off one of my navy pattern pieces here. So I am adding that stencil back on top, adding a little navy there, and now am using or positioning the second of the stencils from the kit, layering stencils, and bringing in some blue Hawaii ink for that particular pattern. I'm going to ink with blue Hawaii down the entire panel using the stencil, and then we'll actually move the stencil down to cover the rest of my slimline panel. Since my tape is still on there, I can just position and press the sides, and the tape will hold this in place. I am sorry that I didn't get a chance to play more with this kit. I'm so late with it. So here I have rotated the same stencil 45 degrees, and now I'm bringing in grape juice ink, and just to create more interest on my panel and to stay with my same color scheme. And I'm here repositioning so that I can do the bottom portion of my slimline panel. So my question for you today is, do you use stencils when you are creating your cards, or do you tend not to use stencils? After lifting my stencil, I realized there was a little corner over to the right that did not have the purple line design. So I just placed my stencil over there, inked that up a little bit, and voila. So here I am using some leftover navy blue cardstock to stamp my sentiment and my dog using VersaMark ink. I did use my acetate grid sheet to line up my sentiment, and now I'm prepping my panel or my cardstock for heat embossing. I'm using silver Hero Arts embossing powder. I preheated my heat tool for about 30 to 45 seconds, so that it's really hot when I bring it to the paper. I love watching the magic of heat embossing. Lovely. I am die cutting this using the coordinating die from the kit, and use some micropore low-tack tape to hold that in place. And then I'll run that through my die cutting machine. I've die cut a stitch circle, about 2.5 inch circle, and am just checking here to see where I want to place that circle. Once I get that all figured out, I am going to use some liquid glue to adhere that circle to my panel. I take my scissors and trim that circle down. I'm using EK Tools 3D Dots foam squares to pop my doggy up on foam. And I am making sure that I get good balance of the foam, and we'll trim it down whenever I need to trim it down. Usually, well, this particular foam has 2 different sizes, so that's great, but I still need to cut some of those in half or in quarters in order to really fit the foam out on the doggy. I've used liquid glue to adhere my sentiment to my panel. Next, I have placed double-sided tape on the back of my panel, and will place some liquid glue on the side of each sentiment. And then I will go ahead and partially remove the release paper from my double-sided tape and place that onto my blue mat. If you find it difficult to line up your panel onto your cardstock, onto your matting, I will link to a video at the end that hopefully will help you to line up your panels onto your mat or onto your card bases. I will trim down the excess sentiment strip. And this is a birthday card for my brother, so I want to go ahead and add an inside sentiment or message to this card. I'm using one of my favorite stamp sets from Stampendous. That one's called Birthday Wishes, and it's very old. I'm not sure it's still available, but if I find it, I will link it below. My finished card measures 3 3/4 by 8 1/2, and the navy panel is 3 1/2 by 8 1/4, and then the focal panel is 3 1/4 by 8. I'm using 120-pound white card stock for my card base as well as my focal panel. I love how this card came out. It's a masculine card, and that was my intent. And I love how the silver coordinates with the navy and the purples that I chose for my color palette. To add some embellishments, I'm using some Nuvo Crystal Drops Liquid Mercury and made a little alley there with 1 drop, attempted to fix it, and I'm okay with it, so I am going to move on. I also used my liquid mercury to add 3 lines underneath my doggy to anchor him. Using my DIY slimline envelope tutorial, I will make a matching envelope for this card and get it in the mail. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if not already a subscriber. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, good day, friends.